All right, everyone, welcome to the Saturday night live stream. I know I'm running about 5 minutes behind. I had an extra long class today. We had tons of people in it, so everything had to kind of get shifted. But I am here, and hopefully, everything is streaming just fine on my end. Everything looks great. So, what are we talking about tonight? In tonight's live stream, we are definitely going to be covering the transgender ban that the DOJ seems to be floating. Now, I already did a video on it. You can watch that video later, but I want to discuss it and I want to clear up any misconceptions on my views on the whole thing. And of course, we're going to jump up north to Canada because their idiotic police chief just wants people to comply with bad guys. And of course, this week, Everytown launched their own gun training, which currently I don't think it's certified by the state of Connecticut. However, they are offering gun training, so we're going to take a look at it and see what exactly they are offering. And of course, we will update you on Brian Fahey, who was arrested and this week was arraigned. So we're going to take a look at what his charges are and what they're looking to get out of the case, so on and so forth. But before I get into all of that, I just want to jump over to this real quick. And I got to see if I can get it to sync up properly, which it doesn't always want to. Ooh, there we go. Restarting the capture. Alrighty. So, as you can see right here is the Gun Guru website. So just in case you guys didn't know, if you ever need to get hold of me because you want a private lesson or you want to do something like a Utah course and you don't want to join a big group of everybody else, you can go right there to the front page and send me a message. Of course, outside of YouTube, you can also find my channel on Rumble, BitChute, Greyhive, Odyssey, and of course, there is a link to the merch store. There is a link for the basic firearm safety course. This will take you directly over to Lock and Load, their website, where they have all their classes that are coming up. As you all know, I am the main instructor for that for the most part. Now, right down here, the Utah links for the laws. You don't have to worry about that unless you have a Utah permit. If you do, well, anytime Utah updates their laws, you can find it right here. It is required with a Utah permit that you stay abreast of their law changes. So I made it super easy for everybody, and the Utah links are right there. Now, when it comes to the merch store, guys, clicking over to Teespring, like I've told you in the past, Teespring does have some glitches, and I know plenty of you out there that have ordered shirts or sweatshirts or hats and things like that, and they seem to never show up. That is out of my control, and I apologize for that. That being said, I offer Bonfire. Bonfire also is a merch store, and they seem to ship pretty dang quickly. Now, there's Freedom Through Violence, Guns and Ammo, Historical Truth of FAFO, Just the Tip. There's tons of designs in there, everything for you. Most of these are t-shirts. Teespring does have sweatshirts because fall and winter is coming up. Now, on this one right here, you see Guns and Coffee. What is that one? Well, that's a whole nother channel that I created. I haven't done anything with it yet, but I'm thinking about creating a so-called like podcast to where we'll have guests on to discuss, things going on with the gun community, not just here in New England, but everywhere, and we'll do it over coffee because guns and coffee are, well, some of my favorite things. I love those. Okay, let's get into the news. All right. Justice Department talks about banning transgender gun owners, sparking fury across political spectrum. Now, I did do a video on this the day that it broke, and I want it to be clear, 100%. I'm against it. I think it's absolutely abhorrent and wrong, and you cannot classify a particular group of individuals just based on, well, how they act, how they feel, things like that. Okay, they haven't committed a crime yet or at all, so you can't just ban them, all right? You need due process. Now, when it comes down to what the DOJ is talking about, the DOJ is talking about banning guns because, well, it's a mental illness, which it is. It is in the DSM-5. With that being said, so are a lot of things like depression, PTSD, so on and so forth. So should we just ban like veterans or people that have, because they have PTSD? Maybe we should just ban people with seasonal depression because, winter is coming and it starts to get dark sooner, and some people suffer from seasonal depression. Should they lose their ability to have guns and a gun permit just because, the weather changes and they get a little sad? Obviously, the answer is no. We're not going to do that. Nobody would let that fly. So why would we ban transgender gun owners from owning guns? In fact, when you look at the stats, when it comes to gun ownership, the growing trend of new gun owners is with the LGBTQ and the transgender community. Because, you know what? There's bigots out there, and they shouldn't go around unprotected. It's everybody's God-given right to be able to protect themselves. So, I 100% agree with that. And there's a few other articles dealing with this. So I had to restart the capture. I don't know why it's acting a little wonky. You guys were stuck on the merch page. I just happened to see that on another monitor. So right here, the Justice Department talks about banning transgender gun owners. It's sparking the fury. Justice Department is drawing swift condemnation from gun rights groups and LGBTQ advocates alike after floating and considering restricting transgender people from owning guns, a move that would certainly fail immediate constitutional scrutiny. So Justice Department is drawing swift condemnation, but I read that. Yeah, right there. Constitutional challenges implemented. Yeah, you can't do that, guys. I know some people had a knee-jerk reaction to it, and they're like, yeah, this is great. No, it's not. It's horrifying. You can't do that to people. I'm sorry. That is not how our system works at all. That is, you can't just do that. All right? And I really have no idea why on earth this is even being floated. To me, it's absolutely asinine. It's not going to go anywhere. Even on Fox News, America's largest gun lobby speaks out as Trump administration mulls possible trans firearms ban. It's not just LGBTQ plus silent number 4 community, transgender community, but it is the gun right absolutists that have come out. NRA, GOA, FPC, all these different agencies have come out in defense of the people's right to own guns, including people that are transgender. Gun Lobby Group, the largest in the U.S. with 5 million members, according to its website, released a statement Friday reinforcing its commitment that all law-abiding Americans have a right to bear arms. Yes, they do. Again, they have committed no crime. Just because you don't like it, you don't like them, or anything like that, does not give you or the government the ability or the right to take away someone's rights. It's not how it works. It comes as the Department of Justice officials have had several internal messages about placing restrictions on trans people after the Annunciation school shooter Robin Westman, who identified as trans, killed 2 people and injured 18 others last month. Also, you had the Nashville shooting, transgender, and a lot of people in the media have been pulling up that a lot of the mass shootings have taken place recently by transgender individuals. Now, me personally, I don't think you can take a few nutballs and paint a broad picture that all transgender people are banned from owning guns. Again, that's not how it works. And I was talking with my class today, And I said, you know, with this mentality, they easily could say, okay, that even though the black community in America only makes up 10% of the population, they contribute to, say, 50% of the crime. So we're going to ban them because, well, obviously they're all breaking the law. No, that's not how it works. You can't do that. And like everybody else, it's a 2A advocate, a 2A purist. I will defend that tooth and nail to stop things like that. That is horrible. All right, the GOA right here opposes all gun bans, full stop. GOA wrote on X. Unless you break the law, you don't lose your rights. It's that simple. I think it's asinine. I mean, why is this the only right they always want to take away? Nobody's saying, oh, if you're transgender, you don't have a First Amendment right. Oh, you don't have the Fourth Amendment. You don't have the Fifth Amendment. It's only this one. It makes no sense to me. And I myself, again, absolute purist when it comes to this. Sorry, just moving things around, trying to get things to work properly. The screen capture is being kind of glitchy tonight. And I'm trying to move it over onto a supplemental screen, which it will not allow me to do. There we go. Now I can get this rocking and rolling. All right, there we go. Technical difficulties. You know, it's hard when it's a one-man show. It really is. All right, let's take a look at the Cato Institute. Here it says President Trump and gun rights, empty rhetoric and blatant hypocrisy. Over the last 24 hours, multiple media outlets, among them Washington Times, CNN, have reported that Trump administration officials are considering whether and how to ban transgender individuals from purchasing firearms, blah, blah, blah. We've already talked about this ad nauseum. Here's my takeaway on this. All right, because they go on to talk about the Second Amendment, Supreme Court cases, so on and so forth, where you can't do this. All right, 14th Amendment, Equal Protection Clause, so on and so forth. Now, here's the deal. Guys, we literally not only got pro-gun groups to argue against this type of buffoonery, we got liberals arguing that the Second Amendment applies to everybody. How cool is that? You have both sides of the aisle arguing that the Second Amendment is for everybody. Legit, the liberals are going on the record talking about how 2A is for everyone. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that would have happened? I don't know. I want to know what you guys think. So down in the comment section, definitely let me know, because here in the, I'd say about 20 minutes or so, we were going to go through your chats, see what's going on. And we got some housekeeping stuff to do. So let's get on with the story. So we've already pretty much slammed the transgender stuff. So we all think it's bad. We don't think that they should lose their rights. And that's it. Done. Until they break the law, okay, you can't, there's no such thing as pre-crime, all right? That does not exist. You can't be like, well, a few of them are nutty, take away all the right. No, you can't do that. All right. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. I'm pulling this up from Yahoo. But Canada. Let's talk about Canada. Canada's top cop wants the public to comply with thugs during home invasions. I can't believe this happened. I'm gonna see if I can play this video real quick for you. And
grip, stability, precision. That's the essence of driving. Lawfin.
In the unlikely event that you find yourself the victim of a home invasion, we are urging citizens not to take matters into their own hands. While we don't want homeowners to feel powerless, we urge you to call 911 and do everything you can to keep yourself and loved ones safe until police arrive and be the best witness possible. This could mean locking yourself in a room away from the perpetrators, hiding, fleeing the home, but don't engage unless absolutely necessary. When we have a weekend like we just had, it's easy to understand our community is feeling unsafe. But let me say this once again, this does remain a safe place to live. And our service is doing everything possible to investigate these crimes and to maintain public safety. But as I mentioned, it is a shared responsibility, and we need the commitment of everyone in our community, including the criminal justice system, to ensure our region remains safe and secure. In closing, I'd just like to remind the public that as a police service, our top priority is the safety of all of our communities. And I know that these incidents have had a devastating impact on the families involved and the...
All right, that's enough of him. I can't handle it. All right, so right here, the article says, just hide and comply, and maybe the armed intruders invading your house will not hurt you or your family. Well, right after this buffoon came out and ran his mouth about this, there were a rash of home invasions in Canada. The police are telling them they cannot defend themselves. Well, Canada's already taken away all the guns. So now the only people left with guns are the little hood boogers, are all the criminals. Because, again, like I've said before, the gun laws don't work. The laws in general don't work for criminals, okay? They're breaking the law, and they don't care about the law. Laws only work for those who are willing to follow the law, those who will comply with the law. That's it. Criminals don't care. That's York Regional Police Chief Jim McSween's recommendation to the public following a gutless murder of a 46-year-old lady, Abdul Alim Faruqi. Easy for him to say it wasn't McSween that had masked bandits pointing a gun at his 4-year-old daughter. Yes, and one of the other articles I saw, I didn't want to show it, but there was a home invasion where a bunch of masked individuals held a family at gunpoint and then proceeded to grape the 5-year-old over and over and over. And the family could do nothing. They can't defend themselves. Okay? This is insane. Now, I give Connecticut a lot of crap for being a screwed up state when it comes to self-defense laws, gun laws, things like that. Okay? We have castle doctrine, and that's it. So we have no duty to retreat from within our home. It is our castle or your place of business, the one that you own. However, everywhere else in our state, you have a duty to retreat. So if you're out at the store and some things are going down, all you can do is pretty much run away. Unless, of course, the danger is right in front of you, posing you great imminent bodily harm or death, and then you get to basically defend yourself. Again, though, that will result in your arrest and charges of manslaughter and things like that, because that's just how the state of Connecticut works. Well, let's talk about castle doctrine. You come home, you shut your door, you lock your door. You have secured your home. If individuals or an individual breaches your locked door in the state of Connecticut, there is no duty to retreat. In fact, you can defend yourself. Now, once the perpetrator or perpetrators retreat, as in they turn and run, that's it. You can't do anything else. You can't give chase. You can't just shoot at them, things like that. All you can do is let them go. They win the chance to do it again another day. Okay, call 911, etc. This is something that's near and dear to us here in Connecticut, especially after the Cheshire home invasion, which I'm sure you all remember happened. It was a tragedy. It was horrible. The two individuals that did it were caught. They were tried by a jury of their peers, and they were both sentenced to the death penalty here in Connecticut. A few short years later, Connecticut got rid of the death penalty. People were pissed. And the governor assured us that those two jackasses would not be taken off death row. And about a year later, both of them were taken off death row and giving life sentences with no chance of parole, etc., etc. So they lied to us. Whatever. I couldn't imagine a police chief, a police department, or anybody saying, you know what? If somebody breaks into your home, just comply. Give them what they want. And maybe, just maybe, you won't get hurt. That's insane. That is absolutely asinine to have someone tell you that. Go down to Florida during the hurricane season. I think it was last year during hurricane season. The sheriff had a press conference. And he said, hey, don't loot. There's going to be no power. Things are going to be kind of messy out there. Don't loot. Because if you loot, the homeowners and the citizens are going to shoot you. Hell, he told the citizens, just shoot these people. Save the taxpayers some money. And guess what happened? Hurricanes came, they lost power, and there was no looting. Because the criminals were afraid that the people, the citizenry, their soon-to-be victims, had the ability to fight back with lethal force. The Canadian government, this particular police chief here, just basically told the criminals, hey, do what you want. Ain't nobody going to fight back. I told them just to let you do whatever, because maybe you won't hurt them. I'm sorry, but if somebody breaks into your house to steal your stuff, they're probably going to do it when you're not home. When you're away at work, they're going to case your house. When you leave, then they break in. If they're coming in the middle of the night, when everybody's home in bed, they're not coming for your PlayStation. They're not coming for your Ninja Creamy. They're not going to steal your KitchenAid mixing bowls. They're coming for you. And I'm a firm believer that you should be able to defend yourself. Enough said. Enough on that one. Let me know what you guys think. Has Canada lost their damn minds? I think they have. I don't understand how people look at Canada and be like, oh, they're so civilized. Oh, it's so nice up there. They're morons. They're morons for this. I hope to God nobody complies. I doubt it, though, because when Canada goes, Trudeau just, a couple years ago goes, we're banning guns. Turn in all your guns, these particular guns. And everybody was like, okay. And they did it. They turned it in. Sounds like something they did in New Zealand. It's insane. I have friends that live in Canada. I mean, they live in the northwestern part of Canada. He says it's insane. He has guns, and it seems like the only guns he gets to own now are guns that are older than our grandparents. They're just not modern. They're like pre-World War II, things like that. Bolt actions, stuff like that. They don't get to get modern handguns or modern rifles or things like that. And it's just a whim. We banned these now. Turn them in. You can't have them. Because they don't have a Second Amendment, guys. They don't have a constitution like we do. If Trump or any other administration just came on TV and said, we're banning this gun. Can't have it anymore. Bro, it would never happen. People would lose their minds and riot. We'd have a civil war like that. Super fast. Not going to happen. And yeah, I didn't hear a lot of people screaming and crying here in Connecticut when HB 7042 got passed. And literally one of the clauses in there is that FFL, starting October 1st, can no longer sell firearms that are knowingly, easily converted, I can't speak, into something illegal. It's so ambiguous. So, again, I brought it up, Glock 19s. Well, you buy one legally, but you can easily make it illegal by putting a switch in the back. You buy a lower, a complete strip lower for an AR. It's perfectly legal in Connecticut. you can build a bolt action, a dedicated 22 LR, or a fixed mag AR, pistol or regular AR, whatever. All that is compliant with the state law. However, if you buy a stripped lower, you could easily just build out something that's technically illegal. Now, how is the FFL supposed to know that you're going to do this? They don't. So it sounds like the state of Connecticut is trying to backdoor us to where FFLs in the great state of Connecticut won't be able to sell certain guns without just outright banning those guns, because it added that layer of liability that is going to, well, have massive ramifications come October 1st. We shall see. Maybe I'm wrong. I doubt it. But guys, you gotta vote differently. Stop voting these morons in the office. That's all I'm going to say. Speaking of morons, I don't know if you know this, but there's a slew of different training groups out there for basic pistol safety courses, such as, I'm certified in many of them. There's the NRA, which is like the gold standard until Connecticut changed the law with HB 8 and 7, requiring instructors to teach gun laws, which the NRA said they would not change their curriculum just for one state. USCCA, which is what I currently teach, and they did create Connecticut-specific curriculum to include the laws, which adds a layer of liability protection to me as an instructor. I'm also a SAFE instructor. SAFE is one of those locally homegrown safety courses. And I'm certified to teach a few other different recognized safety courses. Okay? But you know who came out with a safety course, which is insane? That's right. Everytown. Everytown USA? I don't know. It's the Bloomberg group, the anti-gun group. They came out and they're like, hey, here you go. Firearms training for everyone, created by veterans. Train smart. The new approach to firearms training and online courses for prospective, first-time, and seasoned gun owners. And you can enroll. This is insane, guys. It's an anti-gun group teaching gun safety. That's like learning how to smoke the perfect brisket from a vegan. It makes no sense. So we'll peruse through this page real quick before we go in too deep. But I'll come back up to here so we can watch this. Created by military. I don't know what kind of veteran would create curriculum for Everytown. This is insane. So, courses include universal safety rules. Okay, that's good. I can get behind that. Secure storage techniques, marksmanship, situational awareness, de-escalation techniques, federal and state gun laws, protecting your home, suicide prevention, emergency planning, reloading, fixing malfunctions, clearing different guns, gun buying tips, your first range visit, firearm types and uses, and choosing the right ammo. Let's see what they have to say.
Treat all guns as if they are loaded.
You are responsible for every bullet or shot that you fire. We prioritize safety and know that guns should only ever be used. Guns should only ever be used. And know that guns should...
I gotta back this up. Right there. Work zone. Where's that gun pointing? It's pointing up. No. No. You train your basic pistol safety course that guns are always pointed downrange. Toward the target. Not up in the air. I don't like that.
Prioritize safety and know that guns should only ever be used as a last resort for self-defense.
I was just reading the bottom here. No component of the Department of Defense has approved, endorsed, or authorized this activity. Just because it's a bunch of veterans. I'm sorry. I don't like them using, oh, it's designed by veterans, so it's really, really good. Listen, some of those vets could be like supply clerks. Absolute garbage. The Leadership Council. Let's see what this is. Navy retired. Look at all these people. I don't like this. See, right here, guys. Everytown for Gun Safety Support Fund. They're the ones behind it, just in case you didn't believe me. They're right here. 2025 Everytown for Gun Safety Support Fund. It's right there. Let's see if we can get into any of this stuff. I'm pretty sure like lesson 1 is like why you shouldn't buy a gun. Oh, Nellis is an indigenous woman with over 30 years experience hunting and handling firearms. I'm sorry. I guarantee you a bunch of these people are FUDs. I can't believe it. September 3rd, buying your first gun. Let's see. If you're a gun owner, your top priority should be making sure your firearms are never misused or fall into the wrong hands. To accomplish that, you must secure your firearms whenever you're not using them, and the absolute best way to do that is to use a gun safe. I thought we were talking about how to buy a gun. To make sure your life is a little easier, we've laid out some important things to consider when it comes to purchasing a gun safe for your home. Okay, buying your first gun safe. I didn't see the word safe. I just saw buying your first gun. Let's see. Where to put the safe? If you have children, your safe needs to be far away from their bedrooms and play areas as possible. It might be tough, especially if you live in an apartment, but the more obstacles between your kids and the gun safe, the better. Well, if you lock it and you don't give them a code, they can't get into it. Don't leave your gun safes unlocked. And start there. Anchoring the safe. Yes, you should anchor your safe in your home. Anchor it down, anchor it into the foundation, make sure it's not going to go anywhere. It's kind of hard to do if you don't own the house and you're in an apartment, though. Selecting the right steel. I just tell people this. Make it big, make it heavy, make it almost immovable. But if you're only going to have one handgun, just buy a biometric one. Bolt it down. Locking mechanisms. Mechanical, keypads, biometrics. That's the one I prefer, biometrics. Let's see what they say about the 4 universal safety rules. Treat all guns as they're always loaded. Yep. Never point a gun at anything you're not willing to destroy. Keep your finger off the trigger. Of course. Be sure of your target and what is beyond. Well, okay, there you go. That is the 4 basic universal safety rules. Let's see what it says. Whenever you encounter or handle a gun, you should assume that it's loaded with ammunition and capable of firing, even if someone has told you otherwise. If you're handed the gun, it's up to you to verify that it's completely unloaded or cleared. Accidents happen when people assume that the gun is unloaded and don't check its status. So depending on the model, you must remove the magazine, retract the slide or bolt, and inspect the chamber. Okay, that's solid advice. This all guns are always loaded mindset is part of being a safe gun owner and inspecting a firearm to ensure it's cleared. Goes a long way toward showing others that you're knowledgeable about firearms and you respect them. Sounds so condescending. To me, it's like a no-brainer. If I'm going to hand you a gun, yeah, the magazine is out of it. The slide's locked to the rear. I look inside, I clear it. You look inside, you clear it. There you go. Handed the gun over to you. If I did that, you're not going to be like, wow, he's so knowledgeable and he respects guns. You're going to look at me and be like, yeah, no shit, you're doing that. That's the way I see it. Never point a gun at anything you're not willing to destroy. Firearms are capable of destroying things. You should always be aware of your surroundings and keep the gun pointed in a safe direction. In many situations, that means keeping the muzzle or the front of the barrel pointed straight down toward the ground. I don't like that one. When it hits rocks, man, it comes right back up to you. It's downrange. Always point it downrange. That way, if the gun fires for whatever reason, the bullet will hopefully strike the ground without injuring. It's going to injure you, my man. It's at your feet. One's if you're not at the range. You're just in your bedroom getting ready for the day. And you live in an apartment. You have tenants below you, and you're pointing that bad boy straight at the ground. Oh, but if you're on the second floor of a building, you're risking the bullet going through the floor. There you go. And bullets can travel through multiple walls, floors, and beyond. Okay, so where do you point it? Where do you point it? That's right, they don't give you the answer. So if you live in you're in your house, a condo, or an apartment, I like to tell people, you point it at the corner where the walls and floor meet. That's where the most stuff is piled up. That's hopefully going to negate over penetration, and the bullet's not going to go anywhere. But again, you are in Connecticut. If you get an ND or an AD, you're going to lose your permit. Probably lose your guns too. If you're at the shooting range, always keep your gun pointed downrange and toward the target. Cool. Take your gun out of the case, load it, shoot it, unload it, set it down, put it back in the case. When you're done, if you have any questions, ask the RSO. Good, solid advice. If you're out hunting, you might carry a gun with the barrel pointing toward the ground or straight up toward the sky. This is especially important because you might have other hunters walking in front of you and decide to point your gun upward. Just a reminder that gravity will bring the bullet back down to earth and can injure people. Even if your firearm is unloaded, etiquette dictates that you will keep it pointing in a safe direction. Doing so shows other gun owners that you care about their safety as well as your own. Okay, it's so funny. How about you don't point your gun at other people because they're probably going to shoot you for it? You're at a gun range, somebody turns around with a gun. It's a good way to catch one from everybody. Don't do weird things like that. Keep your finger out the trigger. Whenever you handle the firearm, it must be good trigger discipline, which means keeping your index finger away from the trigger and outside of the trigger guard, the plastic and metal loop that surrounds the trigger. Instead, you should keep your finger fully extended and resting against the side of the gun, just above the trigger guard. This is known as indexing your trigger finger. You may only place your finger on the trigger when you're on target and your weapon sights are aligned. Okay. And you've been authorized to shoot, then you can safely do so. If any of these conditions haven't been met, your finger must stay away from the trigger. So here's my thing with the whole indexing. I always teach people, I like to go a step above and beyond. I wish I really could touch things, but I can't. Not even my little blue guns. But every gun that you own is going to have a special spot just for you. And it's a spot that you strive for to put your finger on. Take Glocks, for example. The perfect spot for me on a Glock, whether I'm shooting right-handed or left-handed, is the takedown lever. When I'm using my P320, I don't want to hear it, guys. I love my P320. I use it at the range. I just stopped carrying it for the time being. For me, right-handed, there's a giant circle that I'm trying to touch. When I go at it with my left hand, my finger is touching the takedown lever. When I carry the Canic, there are two black squares on either side. Perfect to index your finger on. Give your finger a job, touch this spot, and always strive for that. This way, you have a goal, and your finger has a job. Do not let your finger go off into no man's land. Don't let your finger get bored. That's when it starts doing dumb things. That's just me. It's my 2 cents. That's how I teach it. Be sure of your target and what is beyond. You're responsible for every bullet that leaves your gun. Yep, I tell people that. Whatever comes out into contact with, this is Vitally important when you take time to identify both the target, what is beyond, and before you pull the trigger. Listen, I always tell people, you not only do you need to know what's beyond it, you need to know what's in front of it and on either side of it. Because, steel plates and spall, rocks in the front, things like that. To put it simply, bullets travel at blistering speeds, and as I mentioned, they can penetrate through multiple surfaces like walls, floors, and eventually slowing down and coming to a stop. Because of this, you must always be keenly aware of your surroundings, blah, blah, blah. Oh, they give you additional ones. Never touch a firearm that, if you had any drugs or alcohol, in other words, anything decision-making is impaired, don't handle a firearm. That's good, solid advice. I teach that in class. Tell everybody, listen, I'm a party pooper. I never go anywhere not armed, so I don't do anything. Secure your firearm in a safe when it isn't being used to prevent misuse. Connecticut state law requires that. If the gun is not in your direct control, you got to lock it up. Wear eye and ear pro as operating a firearm. Guns produce all sorts of soot and debris when fired. May get in your eyes. Very loud. And even one gunshot can cause permanent hearing damage. Yes. Unfortunately, I joined the military in the mid-90s when hearing protection was, well, not a big deal. Plus, fast forward to the early aughts, I had 3M earplugs, and we all know how well those worked. They told us they're safe, they're going to protect your hearing. Nope. They're not going to protect your hearing. Sorry, guys, I had to jump like that. I had to refresh the capture. I have no idea why. It keeps conking out on me. Use only correct ammunition in your gun. You have any questions? Consult your firearm instruction manual. Heed every warning it contains. Ensure that the gun is safe to operate. If you have any doubts, clear it and let a professional inspect it. And finally, always listen to and obey authorities when it comes to using firearms, including police officers, game wardens, and range staff. That includes obeying all posted rules at shooting ranges. That's right, like that. Obey. Obey them. So other gems of wisdom there. Securing your firearm in a vehicle. You can't. We know the laws on that. So let's go. Let's click up here on courses. Smart Guide to Buying a Gun. It's a 1.5 hour course. Covers gun safety rules, secure storage. It's $20 for a live session, $20 for pre-recorded on demand. And you can fill out all your things here. Smart Gun Guide to Owning a Gun. Train smart gun safety marksmanship. And then here's a breakdown. So September 9th, you can enroll. I'm not doing that. Again, this does not work for you here in Connecticut. It is not certified by the state or SLFU as far as I know. If you guys know something different, let me know. But I find it quite humorous that one of the largest anti-gun groups in our country has come out with their own gun safety course. Again, I guarantee most of the curriculum is probably trying to talk you out of guns. That's what I think. Yeah, this stuff is brand new, guys. It just came out this week, so more will come, but again, it's like learning how to smoke a brisket from a vegan. Just doesn't do it for me, guys. But yep, there you go. Everytown has gun safety now. Usually it's like USCCA, NRA, and all these other pro 2A groups. Nope, now the anti-gunners are getting in on it. They're just going to try and talk you out of buying a gun. We talk about, why are you getting your gun permit in class? We introduce ourselves and we're like, why do you want to get a gun permit? People are usually like, self-defense, all lawful purposes, things like that. They give the, milquetoast answers. I'm sure in this class, Train Smart with Everytown, it's going to be like, you don't need a gun. You don't need one. just call the cops. Comply. Just comply. Let's move on to the next story. This is dealing with Brian Fahey. I know all of you are kind of like wanting to know what the hell's going on with him. So, ex-Connecticut trooper is accused of spitting on a YouTuber's face in an armed confrontation, is seeking special probation. He's accused, bro. It's literally on tape. He did it. I get though, you're innocent until proven guilty. So let's see what they say. A former Connecticut State Police Sergeant accused of spitting on the face of a YouTube activist who had shown up at the sergeant's Groton home applied for accelerated rehabilitation in a court appearance on Thursday. Brian J. Fahey, 53, is charged with disorderly conduct, a misdemeanor carrying a maximum of 3 months in prison and a $500 fine. After his arrest Friday, he was released on a promise to appear in court. Okay, guys, I gotta know. Let me reset the screen capture so you guys can see what I can see. Let me know. If the solar people came to your house, knock on your front door, knock, 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 knock. You open the door and you're like, get off my property. And they're like, okay. And they start to leave. And then you decide, after you've shut the door, you're going to open the door and you're going to run out with a gun and chase them to the edge of your property, spitting on them, screaming at them. What are your charges? I think you're going to go to jail for a long time. I think the cops are going to show up and think you're an absolute nutball because you can't do that. But, hey, Fahey, it's a misdemeanor. 3 months in prison, a $500 fine. And he wants just rehabilitation. He clearly broke the law. You can't do that. Now, originally he was hiding behind his badge. I'm a state trooper, blah, blah, blah. Why is it as soon as this happened, there was an internal investigation, Fahey was placed on unpaid leave, and then retired. That was it. His career's over. Out the door he goes. Brush it under the rug. Hell, I heard originally that the DA in the Groton area wasn't going to charge him with anything, and it was another DA that did. The arraignment was held at Superior Court in Danielson, section of Killingly. It was originally scheduled for Wednesday, but it was postponed for a day. This happened Thursday. Accelerated rehabilitation is pretrial diversion program, places the first-term offenders under the supervision of the Office of Probation with certain conditions, and if the program is successfully completed, their charges will be dismissed. Would you guys get that benefit? Would you? Because I'm pretty sure, granted, this is a misdemeanor, but God forbid you're a veteran, I'm sure they'd use this to basically take away your VA benefits. The charge stemmed from Fahey's July 11th confrontation with Sean Paul Reyes. Again, I don't care what you guys think of Sean Paul. Love him or hate him. He's allowed to knock on people's doors, and when he's told to leave, he did. He operates a YouTube channel called Long Island Audit, and it features content frequently critical of police officers and other public officials, often including video confrontations. He's a First Amendment auditor. He is. And I've seen some of his videos. Some of the cops he deals with are pretty base. They're like, yes, you have a right to do this. And he's cool with them. And then you have people like Fahey, who he confronted Fahey over the amount of overtime he was earning when he worked a 9 to 5 at SLFU in Middletown. How did he accumulate so much overtime? That was the question. Okay, Fahey told him to leave, so he left. It's a reasonable question. We all know civil servants, police, firefighters, all of them, their last couple of years before they retire, they rack up overtime because your retirement is based on your last 3 or 4 highest paid years. So if you rack on that overtime, your retirement check is a pretty fat check. I get it. Reyes, who was not in the courthouse, yeah, he wasn't because Fahey has a restraining order against him. He wanted to be there, but he couldn't. Other auditors were there. Thursday, with several others, were outside along with a truck playing clips of the confrontation. Before the July 11th confrontation, Reyes had filed a lawsuit against Fahey, the town of Groton police, and Fahey told him several negative encounters with the YouTuber, saying he feared for his safety and that of his family. On the July 11th incident, Reyes, 34, accompanied by cameraman Tahim Glover, 20, walked up the long driveway to Fahey's Groton home and rang the doorbell. How dare he? After which Fahey answered the door and ordered him off the property. Reyes videoed the incident. As Reyes recorded his commentary on the situation, Fahey came out and angrily confronted him, continuing to order him off the property as Reyes backed up. The video shows. That's right. Reyes was retreating. Hey guys, didn't I just talk about this? If you have a home intruder, trespasser, home invader, things like that, and they leave, you cannot pursue. It is against state law. After a close review of the incident, the town of Groton police concluded that Fahey spat on Reyes while holding a gun at his side, according to police affidavits supporting Fahey's arrest. Okay, originally, I'm sure you guys all saw the video. Originally, Fahey spitting in Sean Paul's face is not assault. But if Sean Paul spat on Fahey's face, then it's assault. That's what Groton PD said. The video shows Fahey standing very close to Reyes as he walked forward and Reyes walked backward. The town of Groton investigators zoomed in on the exact moment in the video, and it can be clearly observed that Fahey spit in Reyes' face, according to the affidavit. In order to review what happened, the town of Groton Sergeant Devin Beddard examined the video posted on Reyes' Long Island audit website, according to the affidavit. Yep, yeah. Groton PD didn't look at the video. They just watched what Sean Paul put up because he did all the work. He zoomed in and showed it all. Reyes showed officers at the scene the video of the confrontation, including the moment he says the trooper spat on him, according to the affidavit. But Reyes never uploaded the video to the police server to be viewed as potential evidence, according to the affidavit. When reached by telephone Thursday, Reyes said he didn't share his video with the police because I have no faith in the Groton Police Department. They arrested me after I was spit on. There's Sean Paul. Well, I'm not going to sit here and read the whole article, but there you go. Went to court. There he is. Went to court. And he's asking for basically leniency. Instead of throwing the book at him, they're like, hey, I want accelerated rehabilitation. So there you go. You can see the gun right there. Sean Paul is off the property. Okay. And when he called 911, he said he was a state police officer in distress and such like that. So yeah, Groton PD is going to come flying up. You can see how close they are. And we're back to him. Now, in case you didn't know, he was riding a desk because, well, apparently, from what I've been told, he was deemed too dangerous to be on the streets. That's why they put him on a desk job. That's insane. Oh my God. Too dangerous to be out on the streets. Cool. All right. Let's move on to the next story. Excuse me. So here in Connecticut, years ago, they passed a law that required schools to teach gun safety. Okay, it was part of a law, part of one of the sweeping gun bills that we had. The CCDL created this entire slideshow, the curriculum, the whole 9 yards. The state approved it. Not one single school has ever implemented it. Now, I know you're going to say, well, they're not funded or anything. No, it's fully funded. It was fully funded. But Connecticut never did anything about it, and they don't enforce it. This week, right here, coming from News Channel 5 in Nashville, New Tennessee law requires gun safety courses in schools. This is the first year classes will be implemented in Tennessee schools. Lawmakers are bringing new courses to all state classrooms this year. Gun safety. Tennessee is the first state to pass a law requiring gun safety training in schools. I beg to differ. Connecticut did it a few years ago. We just never implemented it. The idea is to teach kids how to navigate guns in their homes and communities, especially in a state where firearms are prevalent. Yes. Now you guys know why I go to Tennessee so much. It's freedom. And guns are everywhere. Everybody's usually armed. And it's a very nice, peaceful state. It is one of the few states that I've ever been to where when you're driving down the street, random strangers in yards wave to you. People that pass you on some of these rural roads that my wife and I traverse wave. They say hi. One incident a couple of months ago, we were in some back roads. We came around a bend. Somebody's cow was just chilling in the road. So we kind of tooted our horn and told the cow to go home. It was a little baby calf. So the cow got out of our way, and we continued on our way. And as we were coming around a bend, we ran into another pickup truck heading the opposite way. Flashed our lights, tooted, and we waved him down. He slowed down, rolled his window down. We rolled our window down. And he's like, "What's up?" And I said, "There's a cow around the corner. Be mindful." And he said, "Thank you much. You have a great day." You know what? You don't get that here in the Northeast. You try to help somebody out, they tell you to F off. They flip you the bird. Depending on the town you're in, they might just shoot you. Bridgeport. The Department of Safety and the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency distributed educational material and a video lesson to school districts this week covering the topic of gun safety. Now, most of these kids, I guarantee you, already learned gun safety at home. I guarantee it. The tone of the younger level is different than it would be for older students. So I can't read tonight. So we want families to know that too, explained Wilson County School spokesperson. He says education for videos of K through 2, for example, will carefully introduce the dangers of firearms and encourage a student to avoid the gun. While in high school, they will tackle responsibility and safe storage. I'm pretty sure probably the K through 2 is probably like something similar to the Eddie Eagle program the NRA offers. It's a pretty good curriculum. Works for kids. USCCA also has their own curriculum for children. I am one of the instructors for that. It's a pretty good curriculum. It is geared from 3-year-olds all the way up to 18-year-olds. The book that goes with the courses is actually a pretty good book. It's basically how to talk to your kids about guns. All the words in there are from mom and dad, and all the little activities and pictures are for the kids. Sometimes having small children, when mom and dad can tell our kids something, it may resonate one way, but then their trusted SRO says it, and they say, "Oh, that's an SRO." And it can sound a little bit different, he said. This could be a very important lesson considering Tennessee saw 158 unintentional shootings by children between 2015 and 2023, and according to the data from Everytown. Why are you using Everytown data? Everytown data is BS. It's all padded. When you get Everytown data and they're talking about, oh my God, there were this many gun deaths. Okay. You got to look at how that data's been cooked. It's like 65% of them are suicide. Take them away. Take it away. The numbers drop dramatically. And this one, I know what they do with this one. So, unintentional shootings by children between 2015 and 2023, 158. What does Everytown consider children? All the way up to 19. Even though legally at 18, you're a grown-ass adult. But what they do is when they give the overall gun violence stats, They include like gangbanger thugs out of Chicago that are 16 and 17, 18 years old. They're just shooting up everybody. That is child. That's a child gun incident. They're full of it. I can't stand Everytown. Let's see. Where was I? Right here. The Tennessee Department of Health backs that up, reporting Tennessee's firearm-related deaths involving kids were much higher than the national average in recent years. An accident is just a moment away. You can think of whatever that looks like. This is all preventative, said Barker. We saw a case recently in June where a toddler accidentally shot himself at his home near TSU. Jennifer Manhurt says she doesn't mind that all three of her children will get a refresher at school this year. Refresher. It's because they've already taught them gun safety at home. Good on you, Jennifer. Me and my husband are both carriers. And they see them, and we just tell them it's not a toy. You don't touch it. And we keep them locked up, she said. It's pretty much what I did with my kids. Didn't hide them. My kids were like, oh, Dad, can I see the gun? Sure can. Drop the magazine out, pop around out of the chamber, show it's clear, make them do all the safety checks, and I supervise, removing all curiosity. So as my kids grew up, guess what they didn't care about? Guns. For them, it was just, it's like the stove, the vacuum, the broom. It's there. It's not something like, oh, let's play with it. With the laws here in Tennessee, it's very common that a lot of homes and families have guns, and kids are curious. Oh, I just said that. She went on. And if they understand the severity of it, then I think it would be less bad outcomes. The announcement of this law has also come with pushback, with some parents having reservations about introducing the concepts of guns to young children. I guarantee you, those pushbacks are coming out of like Knoxville, Nashville, Memphis, and all the larger cities that are heavily, heavily blue. Other counties like Granger County and a bunch of the other counties that are around that are more rural, guarantee you they're all for it. So that's that. All right. So, back to just me. Those are pretty much the roundup. Oh my God, it was exactly 1 hour. It's weird. I'm not seeing any single chats. So I got to refresh this. Because something went wrong. As usual. So let me see if I can pull up your chats. So you get to mindlessly watch me click on things. It's weird because I updated OBS because it was giving me the business, and everything seemed to be working out great, and then all of a sudden, acting up silly again. Alrighty. Alright, I was able to get it. So, let me bring over my little iPad and scroll through. Chewing Bubblegum says, ban them all. Ban who? Don't ban them. Blanket bans for certain people are slippery slopes. Correct, Dylan. Rob B says, who is the qualifier to target vets? The point was it's a very slippery slope. And they could use that, maybe not this administration, but another administration could use this to go after other sects in our community. Mainly it's a mental disorder. Okay, well, PTSD is too, and it's in the DSM. But we do not hold We don't look badly on veterans for having PTSD. We don't remove their rights. Let them get help, things like that. Now, obviously, if you have a mental problem and you go to court and you are adjudicated as mentally defective, which is already law, then yeah, you're going to lose your rights. But you had due process. We don't just arbitrarily take your rights away because we just don't like how you dress, how you talk, or your thoughts. We are not the thought police. Chewing bubblegum. What do all these trans have against kids? That's not the trans chewing. It's not the. It's just the last few shooters have been, yes, transgender, but there's a lot more of them out there. There's tons of them out there. They're not all bad. Just the nutballs. SSRIs are a common thing. Yes, Rob, they are. They are. And they really should look into it, but they don't want to. A lot of these mass shooters have been on SSRIs. Now, RFK Jr. wants to look at it. He thinks they're horrible. And of course, he gets blasted by Democrats on the Hill. Rob also writes, Pam Bondi is a gun grabber who put on the Trayvon Martin circus. I don't trust Pam Bondi as Attorney General when it comes to my rights. She was down in Florida. She's a gun grabby bitch. Don't like her. And originally, you know what? I was hoping Trey Gowdy would be AG. But even Trey Gowdy at this point has come out against guns. He lost a lot of my respect for that. The guns are not the problem. I think all the anti-right, anti-Trump rhetoric, the hate that's perpetuated by certain individuals and then ate up by others are the problem. You know, we can agree to disagree. You know, the way I always looked at it was, if you lean a little more conservative, you tend to think that the left and liberals are wrong. And they just don't know any better. And it's your job to give them facts. On the flip side, the psychotic liberals look at conservatives and think that we're evil and we all need to die. Sometimes you can't just argue with stupid like that. Dylan writes, could be 4D chess move to get them to support the 2A. Yes. Yes, it could be. It could be. Chewin comes back with, if someone breaks in, they are welcome to all the lead they can carry. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty good. Me personally, I think if they break in, then they're definitely sick because something's wrong with them because you shouldn't be breaking in. So I'm going to help cure them with Letacillin. Steven writes, this was a terrible move on Canada's part. Gave the green light to all the bad guys. Yes, it did. What's this world coming to? Canadian morons. Yes, yes, they are. AY says they agree. It's crazy in Canada. Starburst. Would I trust anything from Everytown? Not on your life. Yeah, I know. Again, they came out with gun safety curriculum. No. Part of me wants to know what it says, man. I want to take the class and see what it really is. The problem is I don't want to pay for that bullshit. I don't want to pay for that. Nope. No thank you. Keep my money in my pocket. June came back with, America will be a much better place once Bloomberg bites the dust. Now, that's not nice. Because there will be somebody else to pick up the mantle. Bloomberg is just the funder. All these nutballs are in it. Mike D writes, if you can take away guns from trans people because someone in the group killed someone, why haven't guns been taken away from any other group? It's just discriminatory. Yeah, we agree. You can't do that. You can't do it. We should set up for anyone's right to own firearms. Mike, I 100% agree. Now, there's sometimes pushback between me and Mrs. Guru. Because remember, all felonies, all of them, bar you from the Second Amendment for life. can never own a gun. That includes things like felony tax evasion. Might not even be your fault. Your accountant could have screwed up. It's still on you though. And you're ruined. You'll never own guns again. I personally think, this is just me, and we're not talking about violent felonies. We're not talking about hardcore stuff. We're talking about, the white collar crimes, right? Art theft, tax evasion, things like that. If you're convicted of this felony, you're sent to prison. You do your time and pay your debt to society. Once you come out, you should get your rights back. Voting, all of it, right? Now, violent offenders, no. We can have that discussion. There's ways to remove rights like that. Kid diddlers should never see the light of day again. Nor rapists. None of these people. If you're a violent offender, you should go away. Not in Connecticut. Not in a lot of states where they'll just reduce the charges and let you out on a promise to show up. No bail, like New York. New York does that a lot. I had one guy read an article where he had like 5 violent felonies in a day. They just arrested him, processed him, released him. He went out and did it again and again. And it's insane. Okay. Juan, I can't say. We'll just say Juan. Your whole name, I can't say it. On gun freedom, what would be your pick and why? Texas, Tennessee, Utah, or New Hampshire? Wow, Juan, that's a good question. So Texas, Tennessee, Utah, and New Hampshire are all pretty based when it comes to your gun rights. The only drawback with New Hampshire is it's relatively blue. And if you don't like the Northeast, well, you're kind of stuck up here. Tennessee, Texas, and Utah, they're pretty good. Their gun laws are pretty good. Tennessee did have a really archaic gun law on their books for over 200 years. That was just found unconstitutional. You could own a gun. We have constitutional carry in Tennessee, but you were not allowed to carry a gun with the intent to go armed. It had to be accidental. It was screwed up language. I don't know the original context of this law, but it was in their general statute. It was finally found unconstitutional and removed. For years, certain people would bring it up to remove it and vote on it, but it always fell short, or they just didn't want to deal with it. So finally it got to the courts and was found unconstitutional. All right, Juan also writes, I'm in Connecticut and in the process of moving to EP, Texas. Good. Escape while you can. Any comments on what gun ownerships like comprise to Connecticut? Bro, when you get down to Texas, your mind is going to explode. You are allowed to own all the forbidden fruit. It's amazing down there. They have great gun laws. Don't touch Texas's guns. They'd lose their minds. I like Texas. I think it's funny that they're the only state in the union that technically, when it was accepted to be a state, had it written in as a clause that at any point they could just secede from the union and be their own country because they're big enough to be their own country. I don't think it ever would happen, but Texas is good. Just a bit too hot for me. I like Tennessee. I like the mountains, like Appalachian Mountains. It's really nice up there. Very good gun laws, too. All right. Sent a news piece to you from Waterbury and thought that it would be more topic for discussion. I'll have to take a look at it. I'll take a look. James Rivera. If anyone... Oh, this is so small. If one of us did what the state PD sergeant did, we'd be in jail for years. Yep. Yes, you would. You'd be in jail for a long time. And they would make you the poster child. They would literally hold you accountable. They would create new gun laws based on your buffoonery and ruin you. But hey, Sergeant Fahey's part of the good old boy club. So he gets away with, a lot of stuff. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys apprised when I hear something. you'll know something. And ran a little bit over, but hey, it is what it is. I appreciate the chats, guys. It does help with the algorithm and getting this video out there. So I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to go relax. I have to get up bright and early and go teach another safety course. Don't worry. It's not like I'm griping. I love doing it. So today's class was just extremely large, and I'm a bit whipped. So I'm going to go relax and all that good stuff. You guys go enjoy your Saturday night. Stop watching my foolishness on the internet and go hang out with your families. Go do something cool and epic and enjoy your Sunday tomorrow. It's a day of respite to recharge because all of you have to go to work on Monday. I don't. It's nice being retired. All right, I will talk to all of you guys later. Enjoy your evening.